Imagine over 400,000 people gathering for one of the most historic events in music history. It's been over 50 years since Woodstock 1969, but its impact still echoes today. You may have heard about the challenges, but those are nothing compared to the incredible moments that made the festival unforgettable. In this video, we'll reveal why Woodstock was way more impressive than people think. So, if you're ready to discover the hidden beauty behind the 3 days of peace and music, stick around till the end. The largest gathering of people. What if I told you the best thing from the Woodstock Music and Art Fair wasn't the music, drugs, or love? There was more to it. And here's why. Woodstock 1969 was the very first time 500,000 people cooperated. It was the largest gathering of humans for a purpose other than war. Before this music festival, people gathered but were on different sides. People against the government, the police against people, race against race, you name it. But this music festival was different because everyone was on the same side. There were no enemies. The spirit of Woodstock came from the 1963 march in Washington. 6 summers before this music festival, hundreds of thousands rallied at the mall in Washington, D.C. to hear Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. They also listened to legendary musicians like Bob Dylan, Mahalia Jackson, and Joan Baez sing about the spirit of the future of Woodstock. Even Martin Luther King's legendary speech had 250,000 people in attendance. This is half the crowd at Woodstock 1969. The crowd gathered for the festival endured 3 days of music, rain, mud, and shortages. But did it matter? Not to them, because images from Woodstock 1969 show that many stayed back for the last performance by Jimi Hendrix. I don't know about you, but I can't wait for another gathering like this. A safer one this time. Woodstock 1969 was a revolution. Check out this Woodstock 1969 poster. Did you know that it is one of the most iconic visuals in music history? Beyond this, Woodstock 1969 started a revolution. Before this music festival, concerts were a gathering of philanthropists. These wealthy American elites gathered to decide who needed assistance. Throughout the Vietnam era, the dominant names were the same. The Fords, Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Vanderbilts decided who got relief and who didn't. The power was in their hands, and they kept it that way. So, no Henry Ford or Andrew Carnegie descendant attended Woodstock, but somehow the 3 days of music sparked an unusual generosity in a generation. This simple music festival proved that our generation can do anything if they set their heart to it. It showed that we could help each other without a handful of elites dictating. Unlike many musical events before it, Woodstock performers were kind. Here's where it gets more interesting. After Woodstock, new charity openings grew by 39%, social services organizations grew by 146%, environmental groups expanded by 88%, and animal rights agencies increased by 81%. And guess what? These new charities were started by organizers without trust funds and funded by small donors. They assisted every human, environmental, international, and community need. Think about it. It may have been 3 uncomfortable nights, but it was well worth it. People found love. While people danced to the tunes of their favorite artists, others found love during the 3 days of peace and music. I mean long-lasting love. You've probably seen this viral picture of a man and woman wrapped in a blanket. Meet Nick and Bobby Ercolline, the famous Woodstock couple. Nick and Bobby were 20 years old when they attended the Woodstock Music Festival. Their relationship blossomed because they loved music. They had been dating for a year and a half before the festival. Luckily, the couple attended Woodstock after hearing about the crowd on the radio. They joined their friends in a 1965 Chevrolet Impala station wagon to the venue. When they arrived, Bobby picked up a forgotten blanket at the venue, which later became a crucial part of their iconic photograph. Fast forward to the main event, when photographer Burt Guzzle captured the Woodstock couple standing on a hillside wrapped in a blanket. They were embracing each other with Bobby's head resting on Nick's shoulder. They had no clue that this intimate moment would be on the cover of the 1970 album Woodstock, music from the original soundtrack, and more. This picture of Nick and Bobby Ercolline is one of the most enduring images of the 1960s counterculture movement. It represents peace, love, and community. Today, you will find this image in numerous TV shows, films, and other media. Nick and Bobby have since embraced their role as the Woodstock couple and have appeared at Woodstock anniversary events. They've also volunteered with the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts to preserve the legacy of Woodstock. Nick and Bobby tied the knot in 1971 and have 2 kids. What do they say about finding love in the most unlikely places? Woodstock Babies. Speaking of finding love, some babies fell in love with the festival so much that they made a grand entrance then and there. Many reliable accounts say that there were at least 2 births during the Woodstock Music Festival. One woman gave birth in traffic outside, and another went into labor at Yasgur's farm. She was later airlifted to a hospital to deliver. Several eyewitnesses confirmed this report. For instance, Howard Welsh worked as a radiologic technologist at the nearby Monticello Hospital. He claimed to have been in the helicopter that took a woman to give birth. He said he helped her deliver a baby girl at the hospital's entrance. He even mentioned that he still remembers the sound of the baby's cry. Years later, Welsh claimed that he met the Woodstock baby when she visited his hospital for an MRI. After chatting with her about the music festival, he realized that she was the one he helped deliver back in 1969. But to this day, the alleged Woodstock baby has not been identified. Their medical records are protected by law. Do you know any Woodstock babies? Why not help us crack the mystery? Woodstock Performers. The Woodstock 1969 lineup was legendary. The rumor at Woodstock was that the Fab Four would perform at the festival. These guys were famous in the decade, so why not? As the leaders of counterculture, fans waited patiently for them. Sadly, that didn't happen. The Fabs were actually in London putting the finishing touches to their Abbey Road album. Well, the music festival kicked off without them. It started on Friday, August 15th, with singer-songwriter Richie Havens, The Grateful Dead, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Janis Joplin, The Who, and Jefferson Airplane performed on Saturday. Sunday started with a memorable performance by Joe Cocker, which included his cover of With a Little Help from My Friends. After several hours of rain, Crosby, the band, Stills, Nash and Young played. Woodstock was the second concert at which Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young played as a group. After their performance, Stills told the crowd that they were scared because it was only the second time in their life that they performed in front of people. Jimi Hendrix summed it up with his performance at around 9 a.m. on Monday. Part of his agreement with organizers was that no act would perform after him. By the time he began performing, more than half the crowd had left. Even so, he performed for 2 hours. Towards the end, he played his version of the patriotic American anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Hendrix's performance was magical. His melody was greeted by wails, whammy bar sirens, machine gun fire, and auditory bombs bursting in the air. He switched to his hit single Purple Haze and closed the festival with his cover of Hey Joe. Let's remember the women at Woodstock who also did an excellent job. Melanie Safka was only 22 when she performed before thousands of people. Her electrifying performance earned her new fans. There was also Janis Joplin, one of the most successful rock stars of her time. She arrived at the festival via helicopter on Sunday and waited 10 hours before taking the stage. But then she was unstoppable. Despite her emotional troubles, Joan Baez also wowed the crowd with her hit songs. Other Woodstock queens like the singer from Jefferson Airplane and the singer from Sweetwater did an excellent job too in their performances. Did you attend Woodstock 1969 or know someone who did? What is your fondest memory from the festival? Please tell us in the comments below.